Welcome to the Undisputed podcast. I'm your host, Jenny Taft. This podcast is the full show from today's episode of Undisputed from start to finish. They've got a busy slate, so skip Shannon. Let's get to it.
Welcome to Undisputed. We are live from Los Angeles. I'm Alex Curry here with Skip Bayless and Shannon Sharpe. Good morning, guys. How we doing?
Good morning. Congratulations, TJ Watt, on the Defensive Player of the Year.
Yeah, he probably did.
He probably did.
I also want to wish our man LeBron good luck in his big revenge game tonight at what used to be called Staples, because do you remember what happened the last time the Kings visited the King? The day after Thanksgiving, The Kings won in 3 overtimes as LeBron missed 2 walk-off shots in the same game. That must be an NBA first.
I know a team with the best player in the NBA on it lost 3 games in a row.
Really?
But I ain't going to say nothing about that.
Well,
we gonna
help is on the way, Kyrie.
Really?
Welcome back, Kyrie.
So you need Kyrie to save your legacy?
Well, LeBron did.
All right, guys, we'll get to all that in just a bit, but we have to start with last night's game.
Yeah, let's start with that.
The Steelers got Big Ben a win in potentially his final home game while Baker Mayfield and the Browns offense continued to struggle. Baker threw 2 picks and under 200 yards in the 26-14 loss. And after the game, Baker confirmed he will undergo offseason surgery, telling reporters, quote, "I'm pretty damn beat up, to be honest with you." Shannon, what should the Browns do with Baker Mayfield?
Well, I think everything is on the table. Trade options. Skip, he has a very manageable cap number. They picked up the 5th-year option. It's a little less than $19 million, which is very, very manageable when you look at certain guys. Like Cousins, I think, have like $45 million cap hit. Dak's at $34 million. Jared Goff's at $31 million. So I believe that this cap number is very manageable if they were to bring him back. Now, Skip, I'm going to put feelers out there. Aaron Rodgers can't do anything but tell me no. Russell Wilson can't tell me anything but no. Let's see how we're going to have an entire offseason to gauge what's going to happen with Deshaun Watson. He has a no trade. Russell has a no trade. The only thing they can say is, no, we do not want to be a part of your organization. But I think I owe it to myself. I owe it to the organization, and I owe it to the fans of Cleveland, the great fans of Cleveland that have stayed loyal to this organization, even though they haven't given them anything to stay loyal for. They owe it to them to put feelers out there and to see if these 3 guys are available. Now, are they in love? They don't really have any, they do have draft. They don't have any draft capital. Yes, you do. The 49ers, what they did, Skip, what do? If you believe that there's a quarterback in this draft that's going to take you to a place that you don't believe Baker can get you to, you mortgage this year's first and next year's first for an opportunity to move up and select a said quarterback. But for me, Skip, there is zero. Whatever less than 0 is, whatever that negative integer is towards Baker Mayfield getting an extension. Now, we just saw Josh Allen get $250 million. We saw Patrick Mahomes get $500 million. We saw what Dak got. I think Dak got, basically 4 years, $160 million.
Well, he gets 75 this year. Guaranteed 75.
Well, Skip, it's going to look.
And sometimes he's played like he's worth about $7.50 an hour, $7.50 an hour.
You wait till that first round playoff game. You're going to come here that Monday. You're going to be very upset.
Well, you're going to be very upset because you're going to lose 5 more cases.
Okay. But, Skip, I just think the thing is that Baker has not given them the bang for the buck that they thought when they selected him number 1 overall, Skip. He's 26 in QBR. He's ahead of Sam Darnold, who you have no respect for, and 3 rookies. That's where Baker Mayfield is, Skip.
Well, I have no respect because you said Sam Darnold is going to be the best quarterback in that crop.
And you told me Baker Mayfield, and he's 3rd best at best. Josh Allen and Lamar Jackson are all better than Baker Mayfield.
Tell me when it's my turn.
It's not your turn just yet. And Skip, stop bringing up the injuries. You're out there playing. Baker Mayfield is really, he's injured. Skip Bayless told me he has a torn labrum in his left shoulder and a fractured shoulder. Is that what you told me, Skip Bayless?
I didn't need to tell you because that's just the truth and the fact.
Hey, DJ, do we got a little clip? I'm going to show you something. This is what a guy with a torn labrum and a fractured shoulder did last night.
Yep.
Now watch this.
This is pure guts.
No.
Thank you for showing this. This is pure high pain threshold. That is Trey
Now,
Norwood.
he could have run out of bounds.
That is his fellow University of Oklahoma graduate, Trey Norwood.
Look at this. Now, he could have gone out of bounds.
Yeah. You know
That's his left shoulder.
Pure guts. And they pointed out, I know you keep the sound down, but the announcers last night correctly pointed out that took some nerve and some pain threshold.
Right. And it also took a 16 QBR to do what he did last night.
What did Ben have last night?
You know what, Skip Bayless? You're absolutely right. Big Ben had a 12, and Baker Mayfield couldn't beat him.
But he beat him in QBR.
He could beat him. Hold on. Did you know, Skip, Ben Roethlisberger at one point in time had 34 attempts that left him 100 yards. We couldn't find, in the last week of Stats Inc., whatever they chose, we couldn't find a situation prior to that that somebody had that many pass attempts and that few yards. We're still trying to find. He ended up with 46 pass attempts for 123 yards. At one point in time, I almost tweeted, but then I got sidetracked. I said, Ben might have 50 attempts and less than 100 yards. He was well on his way. Skip, it was sad watching Ben play last night because I told you, Skip, it was 1 year too late, and we got an opportunity. He can't push the ball. He can't throw a simple out. But back to your originally scheduled program in Baker Mayfield, Skip. If I'm the Cleveland Browns, I'm exploring all options. I know I have in the bag this fifth-year option that I've already picked up, which is a little less than $19 million. I am not giving Baker Mayfield a long-term extension because I am not convinced that he's the long-term solution to the problem that I have going on in Cleveland. I play this. I'm going to let this thing play itself out, but I'm putting calls into Aaron Rodgers' agent. I'm putting calls into Russell Wilson's agent and Deshaun Watson's agent because all they can do is tell me no. But I want to tell Baker Mayfield, no, we don't want you back in this organization. That's what I want to tell him.
So it intrigues me that Shannon Sharpe, the Hall of Famer, goes scathing on Baker Mayfield. He's a bust. But you got to give him a chance next year and see what you got.
Skip,
hold on,
time out.
I don't. Which is it? You should just say cut bait.
Hold on, Skip.
Done. Get him out of our sight.
Skip, I might need a look. I got an old beat up car. I gotta do that for like 30, 40 minutes in the morning just because that's the only thing that I got. I can't just go get a new car. I can't afford it. I can't afford it.
You got draft picks?
I can't afford it.
Yes, you
but
can.
Right now,
you can afford it.
Look, right now, I'm in no hurry to do anything. I tell you what I'm not going to do. I'm not going to rush out there and buy a new one. I'm not going to give Baker Mayfield a long-term extension, and neither will the Cleveland Browns.
So he's basically done in Cleveland. It's just like waiting for the other shoe to drop.
Skip.
Right?
I'm just waiting for something. Look, it's done.
So Baker's house in the commercial is about to be somebody else's house. He's just renting right now?
Yeah, I don't know. Progressive ain't going to have to say. I mean, him doing Progressive commercials, not being in Cleveland, I don't know if it's going to have the same pizzazz.
That's finite. We're counting down to the bitter end of the Progressive commercials?
They probably look. I mean, he's all in on now, so I don't see how you get him up out of there.
Okay, so here's what's going on right here, right now, ladies and gentlemen. The Baker hate is in full flood today because it is mostly detonated by the billions of Odell idolaters out there who are saying, see, it was Baker's fault. Look how bad he was last night. It was horrible. Get him out of our sight. This whole year, he's a disaster. He's a bust, and it was his fault that Odell didn't make it in Cleveland. And by the way, Odell now in L.A. has been there for 7 games, and he is catching 3.6 balls a game. 3.6?
How many touchdowns did he have?
Total of 41 yards receiving per game.
Does anybody in Cleveland have 5 TDs?
With 41 yards? Are you kidding me? He's the 4th option in L.A. because that's who he is and who he was for Baker Mayfield. 4th
option going to the playoff versus the number 1 option going home.
Now let's go back to what has really happened this year. The God's truth about what has happened. And I'm going to refer to an article by Jake Trotter that appeared yesterday on ESPN.com that nailed this from start to finish. And the biggest takeaway was just 1 year ago, it would have seemed unthinkable that Mayfield and the Browns could split. Because just 1 year ago, Baker Mayfield was at the end of a beautiful run, a stunning run that had shut up all the Baker haters around the country, starting with the one across the table from me. You were just deathly quiet all that run because it went for 11 games at the end of the year last year without Odell, knocking on wood for Odell. He got hurt at Cincinnati, and Baker suddenly and not coincidentally took off. 20 touchdowns to 3 interceptions. And funny, he started to look like that quarterback as a rookie who was graded by Pro Football Focus to have the 3rd best rookie season, overall rookie season in the last 15 years. That year, as a rookie, he was 3rd in the NFL with what they call big-time throws, 40 of them, ranked 3rd, and he didn't even get to start all the games because Hugh Jackson thought he should be the backup.
He missed 2 starts. Stop it, Skip.
Well, he didn't start all the games, and he still finished 3rd in big-time throws as a rookie. And I said, voila, there he is. That's why I I would have taken him number 1. And then to start into the sophomore year, you started to drive the bandwagon on our show. Shake and bake, baby. I love this kid, right? And then Odell started to rise and not so much shine because Baker started to force feed the ball to Odell, and it is lethal if you start to do that at the expense of everybody else that you used to spread the ball to. So then we continue on into year 3, and Odell gets hurt at Cincinnati, and Baker takes off and goes on a run of 20 touchdowns to 3 interceptions, culminating in a playoff victory just 1 year ago in that same stadium that you were watching him in last night. Baker Mayfield lit up the Pittsburgh Steelers when they were flying pretty high. They were a playoff team, and their defense was playing at a pretty high level because they had run off an 11-game win streak during that year, including 1 win at my Cowboys.
And who said they weren't legit? Early on, who said the Steelers weren't legit?
Well, Baker made them look not very legit because Baker lit them up with 3 touchdown passes and 48 points.
Defense gave him 6 turnovers, but okay.
And guess what Baker's QBR was that night? It was a 91 that day, actually. 91. That's on a scale 0 to 100. It was one of the top QBRs in all the playoffs last year. And that guy looked like the answer in Cleveland. So then we fast forward to the first game this year, and he comes right out firing at Kansas City. Do you remember this game?
Yeah, I do.
Okay, at Kansas City. Baker opens up by throwing for 321 yards against the Kansas City Chiefs at Kansas City, and they scored touchdowns on their first 3 times they touched the football, right?
They did that.
Okay? They did lose that game.
They did? How?
But Baker wound up 21 of 28 for 321. I'd say that's franchise quarterback stats, right?
Well, hold on. How you going to lose a game that you had a 12 to 17-point lead?
Well, it's because it's Patrick Mahomes on the other side when he was still Patrick Mahomes before he had come completely apart and his confidence wheels had all fallen off.
They fall off, okay.
You got him at his best in the opening game in his state, in his house, right? So then we go to game 2 that year, and what happened? Baker starts off just on fire against the Houston Texans, and he completes his first 9 passes that game. Boy, he looked like a franchise quarterback to me, but on his 11th pass of the game, it did get picked. And Justin Reed is returning the football, and Baker says, I'm a tough guy. I don't take this from anybody. And Baker sprints across the field and flies into Justin Reed and tears his labrum trying to make the tackle. And on top of that, he fractures his shoulder. And I told you from that moment forward, I'm pretty sure, I said it's almost certain he's going to need surgery on that torn labrum.
Right.
Well, right on time. What did they all but announce yesterday? He's going to need surgery, and he's going to have surgery sooner than later. In fact, I think they'll just give it up right here. The only reason he played last night is because they prepared to play, because they thought if your Chiefs that you had picked to win at Cincinnati on Sunday, if they had won that game, Baker and company would be sitting right in the middle of the division race. So he had prepared to play the game last night, shouldn't have been playing all year because I told you he is beat all to hell.
Okay, Skip.
He needs surgery, and I think they'll just go ahead and have it right here this week because they are out of the playoffs.
Okay, how about this? Let's just say, for the sake of argument, I can concede that to you. That Baker Mayfield has a torn labrum and a fractured shoulder blade. If that's the case, why were you constantly blaming Odell for his struggles?
Okay, I just said you're force-feeding the ball to an Odell who is a shell of himself because he has had 3 surgeries in the last 4 years, and he's lost some quickness, and he's lost some burst, and he's lost a little confidence in game in his hands.
It didn't look like it. The way he plucked that 4th down, it didn't look like he lost confidence.
Really?
But if that's the case, so who's he forcing the ball to now?
He had the 4th most receiving yards for the Rams.
Okay, well, who is Baker forcing it to now?
Okay, well, he doesn't have anybody left.
Oh, no, he don't got nobody.
So what happened? What happened? What did I tell you? I first guessed this. I told you I have a source within that organization, very good source, who told me that this team basically started to quit on Baker Mayfield because Odell is beloved in that locker room. Odell is godlike. You are a mentor to him, and you revere him because you're close to him, and you think he's got a good heart, and he's got a lot of talent, and I agree with all of the above. He's just beat up. He might be even more beat up than Baker is at this point. But the point is that on social media, his aura, his mystique, his his impact is still so huge that he's treated like a superstar that he can't live up to anymore. Baker was in awe of Odell. Baker considered Odell a close friend. He also considered Jarvis Landry a very close friend, and those two are the closest of friends. And what has come clear since the Browns dumped Odell, Jarvis has basically quit on that team because his heart is no longer in it, because he's made it clear he didn't really want to play without Odell. Okay?
No, what's clear, what the locker room sees is Baker's not it. Well, you can prop him up all you want to, but those guys in the locker room?
All right, so they are quitting on him because Jarvis has become a shell of himself.
Oh, now he's a shell. Everybody's a shell of himself except Baker.
Because he's not into it anymore. So what did Alex Van Pelt, the coordinator who used to be Aaron Rodgers' guy, remember? Aaron was very upset when he was cut loose in Green Bay, right? Yep. Alex Van Pelt is now Baker's coordinator, and he said just the other day that it's talking about his torn labrum and the harness that Baker has worn the whole year on his left shoulder, which, by the way, popped out about 3 games into his injury. Remember when J.J. Watt fell on him and the shoulder popped out and he actually had to miss a game with that. But Alex Van Pelt said the shoulder harness definitely is something that has hindered and handicapped him. You can just see in his mechanics down that left side, he gets stuck in there at times, and it's a struggle for him. Hopefully next year without the harness, you'll see Baker back to normal with his normal throwing mechanics. He has fought through it. We have a lot of respect for the fact that he has battled through that, and we know he's injured. I'll leave it at that. Well, I've been leaving it at that the whole year long because there's no way he should have been playing. How many times did I say, just stop it, get him out of there?
Okay, Skip.
Because he is his own worst enemy. He's just saying, I'm a tough guy, and I'm going to gut it up and gut it out and play it.
Okay, I'm going to concede that he's hurt. Well, if he's hurt, why do you continuously blame Odell?
I'm not blaming Odell.
Yes, you did. You say he forced feeding Odell.
Okay, that's what happened 2 years ago.
So last year,
I told you it's no coincidence. Just look at the numbers without Odell. Once the sky was cleared of Odell, the mystique hanging over Baker like a cloud, all of a sudden Baker took off.
So what about the year? What about before Odell got there?
Okay, well, I told you.
So why did they go get Odell? If Baker Mayfield was all that, why would they go get Odell?
Because most of the people, remember the former GM, he thought that Odell was still a superstar, right?
Well, I tell you what, this guy, I ain't no GM, and I'm not a pro personnel guy, but I told you Baker Mayfield isn't a superstar, and that's not what he's going to be. Okay.
Well, I'm here to tell you that I hope and pray that the Cleveland Browns see fit to just cut bait and let him go. I dare them today to let him go because he has big-time ability. He has big-time leadership ability. And right now,
are we sure he has big-time leadership ability?
Right now, he's caught in a viper's nest. That team is a viper's nest. That locker room is a mess right now of a split between players who love Odell and some love Baker. And right now,
it must be the offensive line.
Yeah, you want to talk about, hey, did the offensive line look like it did quit on Baker last night? It sure did. He got sacked 9 times last night. And by the way, he just kept firing. And I agreed with what he said after the game. Anybody who questions my toughness should just put this tape in because, to your point, that was some. I'm glad you showed that one run, and I want to show some other plays because he just kept firing in the second half. He would not quit.
Did a lot of misses.
We could see some of his good throws in the second half. Yeah,
he had 22 misses.
He threw for 127 yards just in the second half because he just kept flinging it. That's his best receiver, Donovan Peoples-Jones, who is now graded the 40th best receiver by Pro Football Focus in the NFL. There's one, a touchdown to Njoku. That looked pretty good to me.
He was hurt. He hurt. How you throw a touchdown and he hurt?
Here's your play of plays. This is a 3rd and long scramble. He just said, I got this. Baker's got good wheels now. He can run it. And he decides to run over Trey Norwood just to say, watch what I do with my busted shoulder. That's a pretty good throw to Donovan Peoples-Jones. That was on 4th and 10.
Yeah.
Late. So he has 2 late touchdown drives, and it forced a late onside kick that Pittsburgh did recover, and then Najee got loose and went for the clinching touchdown.
Oh,
right?
So
I saw 127 yards of Baker hurt, sucking it up after he had gotten the you-know-what kicked out of him by getting sacked 9 times.
Skip, think about what you're doing. You're commending a man that threw for 127 yards.
Hurt.
127.
Yeah. He probably needs surgery tomorrow, and he may well get it tomorrow or the next day.
Skip, he's not it.
Well, that's what you've been saying, but you just discount the fact of what did we see as a rookie and what did we see last year? We saw franchise.
So you gonna jump over his sophomore year, you jump over his senior year, and go straight to his rookie year and his junior year.
Last year, would you believe that Baker Mayfield finished top 10 in QBR last year, and that was mostly without Odell?
Yeah.
Would you believe that?
And guess what? He spent most of this year without Odell because Odell been gone for 8 weeks. So this will be his 9th week. Odell has been gone. So you straight.
I just hope the Cleveland Browns can go get somebody. Let's see. Would Russell Wilson waive his no-trade clause to go to the Browns? I don't think so. Would Aaron Rodgers say, I think I want to go to Cleveland? I don't think so. Right. Who is it? Jimmy G?
Tell me
Jimmy G? Who you want? Jimmy G or Baker? I'll take Baker any day.
I'll take Jimmy G.
Okay, well, there. Good. Congratulations. Go forward.
Jimmy G.
Yeah. It's why the 49ers went and got Trey Lance, who, by the way, looked really good the other day, and he is the near future in San Francisco.
Well, rest this so Jimmy the Greek probably could play quarterback better than Baker.
Really?
You know that.
Okay.
He probably could.
Oh, okay.
Probably could have.
All right. Put your money where your mouth is. Let's cut him loose and let him go somewhere. Let him go to the Texans or somebody and just start fresh. Clear the decks. Let's start over.
You do realize no matter what transpires, he's the number 1 overall draft pick, and there's a possibility he'd be playing some elsewhere. That means he wasn't a success. You do understand how this works, right?
Yep. Sometimes circumstances work against you.
He's a part of the circumstance.
Yep. Odell wrecked Baker Mayfield.
You can. That Odell out there balling in L.A. He balling.
He's catching 3 balls a game for 40 yards.
3 important balls.
Oh, 3 important balls.
Let me ask you a question. In the Super Bowl, how many passes did David Tyree catch?
I don't care.
How many did David Tyree catch?
That makes sense to me.
Exactly.
That's a great analogy.
Exactly.
David Tyree, I think he caught 6 all year.
And caught the most important one in the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Odell caught the 4th down. That without that catch,
Boy,
you
that
don't
was
win that game. Yeah. And then that tub. You see that tub, how he snagged that thing and got across it?
Yeah. Pretty soon it's going to be Matt Stafford's fault. You're already starting to lean that way.
No. Hold on.
Matt Stafford's thrown 5 picks in the last 2 games.
So was that Odell's fault?
Ooh.
He got 4 pick sixes.
Maybe he's getting a little Odell-centric, Odell-conscious.
And none of those pick sixes were he throwing the ball to Odell. None of those were where he was throwing the ball to Odell.
Troubled team. We're going to talk about Jalen Ramsey actually slugging a teammate during the game.
Hey, we'll talk about that, but I'm just talking about, Baker Mayfield slugged his teammate. Like, I ain't taking y'all nowhere.
Yep, I agree. This team has turned on Baker. They don't want Baker. Good for them. Congratulations. Next?
Turned on him.
Next.
When were they ever with him?
Well, they were with him.
I don't think they believed
godlike Odell was there.
I don't think they ever believed totally in Baker Mayfield. Only you did.
I never believed in Odell. I didn't believe from the start.
And I don't believe in Baker. Yep. Odell's resume speaks for itself.
Odell made the greatest catch ever in the history of pro football against my Dallas Cowboys, and they lost that game.
And guess what? Baker done lost a lot of games.
Odell's played 1 playoff game in his life. And wait, he went to South Beach to prepare for a game on the frozen tundra and dropped the first 3rd down pass.
He's about to play some more this year.
Is that right?
He's about to play some more this year.
Well, I hope so for his sake, because Baker has 1 big playoff win on his resume, and it was in that stadium against that team 1 year ago. And in 1 year, Shannon Sharpe has concluded he's a bust.
No, I didn't say he was a bust.
Yeah, you did.
I'm just saying he's not that guy.
Okay.
That guy. The number 1 overall pick, the franchise-altering guy, he's not that.
I say he'll go somewhere else, I hope, and take another team to the playoffs, and you'll be sitting over there getting quiet.
No, Skip, you do realize as the number 1 overall pick as a quarterback, taking a team to the playoffs isn't good enough. You do realize that as Troy, as TB Terry Bradshaw, as Peyton Manning, as John Elway.
You realize that a quarterback gets taken number 1 overall almost every year. So is that a birthright that all of a sudden you're supposed to be the Super Bowl winner?
Yeah, no.
There's only 1 Super Bowl a year.
Whoa. If you're that guy. They said he's that guy.
Well, I'm not saying he's not that guy.
Yeah, that's what you're saying.
No.
Yeah, that's what you're saying.
Yeah.
You said that's what you told me all along.
No mercy.
Despite Bruce Arians saying Antonio Brown is no longer a Buck after his dramatic exit, the wideout is still officially on Tampa Bay's roster. There are reportedly discussions between the team and the league about how to handle the matter moving forward, including a possible suspension prior to his potential release. Shannon, the story that has been all over Twitter since Sunday has been AB's latest departure, and we know he has a huge presence online. So how much does social media have to do with AB's demise?
I think it played a role, Skip, but ultimately it comes back down to the individual. AB was a standalone. AB was a professional athlete, and at the time you could make a case he was the best receiver in football. So he didn't need validation from the social media world, but he wanted it. The moment he went Facebook Live and he saw all those clicks and he saw all those likes and people was going crazy, I believe that was the beginning of the end. So now I start to do things. Skip, people don't understand attention and fame is a disease. It's a sickness. And the more you get it, the more you crave it, the more you desire it, the more you need it. When AB got those 200,000, 300,000 likes, he craved that. Now, what's the next biggest thing? It's kind of like Michael Jackson, Skip, when he did Thriller. He sold 100 million copies. What's my next Thriller? It drove him crazy that even though Dirty Diana was Diamond, it wasn't Thriller. Okay, but I need that. I need that fix. It's like a drug, Skip. Once you get that first hit, you crave it and you're searching for that. Okay, AB's like, what can I do? And he started doing things. And people on social media started validating his bull jive. Yeah, you're right, AB. A lot of times people love people that will thumb their nose up at the establishment, that will thumb their nose up at authority.
Yep.
AB was doing that to the Pittsburgh Steelers by not coming to practice, by missing meetings, by his shenanigans. He was thumbing his nose up, although they were paying him $10, $11 million. He was like, I don't care. I'm going to do what I want to do. Mm-hmm. You remember in his interview, he says, they're going to play by my rules. He really thought that was the case. And people on social media, they started to validate AB's bull jive. And people around him, Skip, he surrounded himself with people that told him what he wanted to hear, not what he needed to know. Because, Skip, if I'm around you and I get to offer you nothing but, AB, you right, and I get to go to the club and get the bottles, I get to be around all the females, I get to go everywhere you go, fly private, why would I ever tell you something that's right?
Good point.
I'm only going to tell you what you want to hear, because I like bottles. I like being around the models. I like going places and being able to do things that I would never be able to do unless I'm AB's clique. So AB started to get that, Skip, and he started to do things, and he started to get more and more. Look at when he did IG Live, Skip, when he talked about free, I'm free. Everybody look at AB. Now, a lot of those people that say AB was doing right and AB's this, say AB a fool. AB done lost the bag. Social media has made a lot of people that was not as big to start as AB famous. Skip, most of the shows on television, reality shows, Real Housewives of Atlanta, Real Housewives of Potomac, Real Housewives of Beverly Hills and the Potomac, and this one and that one. The Kardashians, they became 100 millionaire billionaires on reality television. So I get it. It can be a good thing. I don't want people to think that all social media is bad, because it's not. A lot of people do things on social media and good, and they don't behave like this.
No.
So I don't want people to think that social media is the sole reason why AB is like this. AB is like this because AB is like this, but social media fed it. And it caused it to grow until it became uncontrollable, and it consumed him, and it turned him into what we currently see.
I agree times 10 with everything you just said, to the point that I believe that Antonio Brown became the first high-profile victim in sports of social media.
Right.
For all the reasons you just detailed, because he went over the edge into it. He went through the looking glass, down the rabbit hole. And he couldn't come back from it because he became obsessed with it. He became addicted. It's a form of attention deficit disorder where you just need constant attention, and it will give it to you sometimes, maybe oftentimes, for all the wrong reasons. I've mentioned this before, but I've been on TV for a long time, and I've had a lot of friends who have come and gone in this business. And I call it the vampire mystique, where once you get on TV, you turn into a vampire and you can't help yourself because you become the face in the mirror. And you're no longer you. And I've had friends I lost touch with because they lost touch with themselves. And I believe some of that started happening with Antonio, to where all of his bad behavior got reinforced, if not even flat out encouraged by those, what did you say, who want you to thumb your nose. They want you to thumb your nose. Go, AB.
Yeah.
Stick it to him.
Yes.
Make him pay.
Yeah.
Show
the man
him.
can't tell AB what to do.
You can't do that. Now, those same people, they don't. If AB just drops off the face of the earth right now, and at some point they won't be following him anymore because he'll just be another guy out there, a retired football player, right?
Yes.
And it won't seem so cool to follow
And a lot of
AB.
those people, Skip, if they were in AB's situation getting $5, $7, $8, $10 million, they would never do what AB do. But they go co-sign him. Hey, you want to blow your money? That's you.
Yep.
I wouldn't do that.
So when did it start? For me, it started when Antonio Brown brought his social media team to a Pittsburgh practice. It was a first, to my knowledge.
Yes.
Because we're now back in the 2015-ish range.
Okay.
And he brings his crew, all social media driven, to practice with no apology to the head coach or no heads up to the head coach.
Right.
Where he just ushered them into practice, and they're
Sitting up,
they're following him through practice because they're going to post all of his catches and all of his workout and all the things he's going to do. And I'm pretty sure Mike Tomlin was not happy with it, but what do you always tell me? Production intolerance. And Mike was looking the other way.
Yeah.
Because remember, that was the glory days when it was Big Ben to Antonio.
Yeah.
2014 and 15. A lot of people were talking about them as the most dynamic duo ever.
Yeah.
Where remember Ben you can do Peyton to Marvin Harrison. You can do
and Montana to Rice, but Skip, those production. Cooper Kupp is now one of the guys, 130 catches, 1,800 yards, 15 touchdowns. AB's in that group. AB went like 2-3 years, Skip, getting 120, 130 catches.
Yep.
1,800 yards, double-digit touchdowns.
Yep. Even Tom Brady said in his podcast last night, he is immensely talented.
Yes.
Well, he is. He still is at 33.
Why else would somebody put up with that bull jive for 6-7 years, Skip, if he wasn't immensely talented?
Okay. Then the next revolutionary breakthrough on social media came, as you pointed out. They won a home playoff game.
No,
I'm sorry,
it was on the road,
Kansas City. Kansas City. It was in the cold.
Yes.
It was like 14-12.
Right.
And the locker room is jubilant because they're about to go play the AFC Championship game at New England.
Correct.
And Mike Tomlin is giving a fire and brimstone speech about how those, what's up there in New England got a head start on us because they got to play last night. Right.
We play on Sunday. We got to turn around and play. We got to play Saturday.
Correct. And not only is AB not listening, he is going Facebook Live to the world with Mike over his shoulder, preaching to the team. And you can hear Mike Tomlin
in the background
while AB is talking about his production in the game.
Right.
And here we go. And here it's about I. Right. And it should have been the end, but it wasn't. They still gave him his money because he was producing at the highest of level. And to your credit, you first guessed it and called it and said that should be it because we had just started this show in September of 2016. And that happened. And then we had AB on the show at the Super Bowl in Houston in February. And you told him to his face, nope, you're out. Can't do that.
Can't do it. Because I already had to say, if he did this with the amount of money that he's making, you're about to double his salary. You embolden him. He sees nothing that he did wrong because Mike Tomlin says we're not going to punish ourselves. In other words, I know what he did was wrong. Yes, he broke a secret code. The locker room is off limits. Normally, even when NFL Films is in there, they will run. They don't release anything that the head coach doesn't sign off on.
Yep.
Or in the Cowboys case, Jerry Jones doesn't sign off on.
That's a fact.
So for AB to let that out, and Mike Tomlin is saying, those SOBs got a head start because they played Saturday, we playing Sunday night, and we got to turn around again and play Sunday, where they had an extra day, that's going out. And I'm like, bro, why would you do that? Because he saw all those hearts. Oh, AB in the locker room. We're in the locker room right after the game, yada, yada. And he's just feeding him. And he's just growing.
Yep.
And he's like, I can do. So now everything I need to do, Skip, needs to be televised. I need the Facebook Live. I need IG Live because it's kind of like we do this in the show, people watching at home. But when we go on location, Skip, we get instant feedback. Ooh, it's different. We don't know what's being said behind someone's television. But when we're in at the Super Bowl, or we went to the MMA and we're discussing a topic, and people, we get instant because it's, skip. So that's instant. He's getting instant feedback.
And I agree with that analogy. That's what happens when we're on the road and you got the live crowd and you get yayed or booed immediately. Right?
So we know, as opposed to, and now AB knows, okay, man, look at all these hearts. Man, you mean to tell me I got 100,000? I got 200,000? Wow. 300? Wow. Even Facebook Live, they gave him a little deal. He ended up getting a deal out of the deal. Mm-hmm. And like I said, Skip, look, I'm on social media. I think social media does some good for a lot of people. It's a way to promote you, because a lot of people you don't have to have no middleman. I can go right to the consumer. I can go right to my fans. This is me. I'm in my home. This is me with my dog. This is me in my car. This is me in my backyard. I can do all that. I can give them an inside look at what I'm doing in the dressing room before the show. It controlled AB. It became as important, if not more important, than football.
Yep. It empowered him. It fueled him.
Yeah.
And once he decided that, the Oakland Raiders need me.
Yes.
They need me. I am it to them. They gave me a bunch of money. This is my team and my town, and I can do whatever I want to do. Right. Look out.
Yes.
Because there are no more restrictions. He can act out, act up, act any way he wants to. And it's going to go over the edge pretty quickly, and it did.
It did.
Right?
But, Skip, everything was his fault. The helmet. The NFL told all the guys, if you're using the old helmet, Tom Brady had the same helmet for years. Rodgers, a lot of these guys, the quarterbacks had the same helmet. Breeze, They said, we're moving away from that helmet.
Yep.
Start transitioning and finding new helmets. AB said no. AB like, nah, I'm gonna wear my helmet. AB said, remember, they're gonna play by my rules. Skip, it's not the Raiders' fault that you went into a cryo chamber where it gets minus 180 degrees below zero with wet feet.
Yep.
You got frostbite.
He did that.
That was him.
Yep.
You chose not to come down to the hotel ballroom for walkthrough, and you sat up in your room.
Yep.
That was somebody else's fault. Then he gets on IG Live and talk about, I'm free AB, free as a bird. He running around the backyard. But that's instant gratification because he sees all those hearts. He sees all those hearts.
So he winds up in New England, and he winds up text threatening one of his alleged victims of sexual assault.
In a group chat.
And she outs him, exposes him by going to SI.com with it. And he is immediately cut by the Patriots and has the audacity to go on Twitter and take a personal shot at the owner of the New England Patriots, somebody you hold in high regard.
I like Mr. Kraft a lot. But Skip, the one thing you know about the Patriots, when they say zero tolerance, it ain't no second chance. Mm-mm. As a matter of fact, they didn't give Chandler Jones one chance. Mm-mm. He had an incident.
He did.
Coach Belichick said, I'm done.
Yep.
And that's normally how it works in New England. You have an incident. That there have been occasions, obviously, but for the most part, when you come with baggage, Coach Belichick's not going to give you a second chance. And then it's like, you know what? I said, okay, he waited. It waited. Skip. If I'm not mistaken, B.A. might have been on the staff when A.B. got there. He might have been the OC because, remember, they ended up because B.A. and Ben was developing a close relationship, and very close, and it made the Rooneys uncomfortable. Mm-hmm. So Mike Tomlin moved on even after they had won the Super Bowl.
That's true. No, Bruce was there when A.B. was a rookie.
Yes.
Is that what you mean? Yes.
Yes.
He was.
So he knew what A.B. was.
He knew and said no. He's not a fit in our locker room.
And you don't think Mike Tomlin and B.A. had conversations about A.B.? This was Tom Brady. Now, and we're going to talk about Brady in the situation, but how you going to chop Brady's head off? That man went to bat for you when nobody else would. I feel very comfortable in saying, Skip, had Tom Brady not vouched for A.B., I do not believe A.B. would have been in the league.
I agree.
Because once he vouched for him, they saw the way he played. Now, all of a sudden, this offseason, you had the Ravens was interested. You had the Seahawks were interesting. It was because all Brady vouched for him, gave him an opportunity, gave him the ball. Now, who's going to vouch for AB in this kind of behavior?
Well, and I told you, as big a Brady fan as I am, I thought it got to the shameful level that Tom kept defending and pushing to keep him. I think Tom overruled Bruce Arians 2 weeks ago.
With the fake vaccine card, when they talk about, well, we're thinking about it, we haven't decided what we're going to do. You said zero tolerance. That's what you said. That was the rule that you set forth. Especially when you said you didn't. Nah, we got enough. We don't need an AB. We got a TB. We got enough single, initials. And come to find out, they signed an AB. Well, we knew that was a Tom because Tom played with him for that cup of coffee that he had in New England, and Skip, ain't no denying his talent. Skip, I'm never going to deny the man's talent. His talent is undeniable. But I cannot excuse his behavior. I cannot.
So in the end, I believe that AB, as he melted down, in the back of his mind is thinking, this is going to be huge on social. Because he knows his whole life is on tape.
Yeah.
It just is, because everybody's got a camera.
Skip, they got the man waiting on Uber outside the stadium. How they get that? But the cameraman that's taking the pictures, he should have. He's a
celebrity driver that he's used.
But here's the thing. But the guy that's taking the picture.
Yeah.
He should have told AB, check this out, bro.
Yeah.
You know this over for us, right? Can I go and get that 500, that 1,000 that you promised me?
I know.
Because if I don't get it now, I know how you be paying people.
That is correct.
But you know it's over for us, right, bro?
Yeah. But even when AB was doing jumping jacks off the field, he's just thinking in the back of his mind, this is going to be huge on social.
He thought, Skip, right? He thought, like, man, they cheering me. AB, you not on their team. They not cheering you, they jeering you. But he in his mind, he convinced it. They're like, yeah, he waving, he piecing them out. He's convinced himself that the 70,000 was cheering what he was doing.
And all of his followers.
Yes. Man, look at AB. AB was hurt. Skipping all my years. I played 14 years. Had Dan Reeves, Wade Phillips, Mike Shanahan, Brian Billick. Not one time has a coach ever come to me and asked me, was I hurt? Not one time. Now, if I'm coming off the field, 84, how you feel? Sharpe, you okay? The trainer, the head trainer, Steve Antonopoulos, Bill Tessendorf, when I was in Baltimore, Sharpe's down. Sharpe's going to be able to go. He's telling the head coach, I had no interaction. Now, that might be a unique situation. Maybe BA is checking with guys, but I talked to some guys, and they said their head coach never talked to them about going back into the ball game or asking them where they're hurt. So this seems like a very unique situation that AB had with BA. Because BA said he didn't know anything about him being hurt.
Well, he said he caught 10 balls last week for 100 yards.
And seemed fine to him.
And the doctor certainly cleared him to play Sunday at Jets. So.
And then you start hearing, well, AB, they didn't put AB in when he wanted to go in.
No.
And when they said AB go back in, AB didn't want to go back in.
He was pouting because Gronk was getting the majority of the targets. He'd gotten 5 already, which is pretty good.
I don't care if you're on a team, you play wide receiver, there are going to be times that somebody's going to catch more balls than you. You might catch 2 or 3, and the next guy catch 10.
Yep.
That's the way it works. And you just accept that.
Well, he used to know that until he decided, I'm the savior. There's no Chris Godwin. They need me.
But guess what? Skip, he didn't have a problem with he getting all the balls in Pittsburgh. He didn't have a problem with nobody else getting 2 to 3 balls.
No.
As long as he getting 20, Ben throwing him 20 targets.
Yeah.
Because remember that week in Baltimore, Skip, they lost the game, he threw the water cooler. The next week, Ben come out and gave him 19 targets.
He did.
He had no problem with that.
And then, by the way, when they did go up to New England for the AFC Championship game, what happened? Well, Brady happened, right? And Belichick happened, right? So you lost. You can get all the targets you want, but I think AB learned a little lesson there, like, oh, that number 12, he knows how to do this.
Right.
Until in the end, he's even biting the hand that feeds him and blesses him.
Right.
Right?
But it wasn't about winning, Skip, as long as I get my individual stats.
Yeah.
People.
Well, he got his ring last year, so he's good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just hate because the guy's a Hall of Fame talent.
Oh, definitely.
It's going to be very, very hard.
Very.
Because they've instituted a rule, Skip, that what you do on the field, Skip, they saw him quit. I don't care how you dress it up. B.A. might have said, get your butt in the ball game. Nah, coach, my ankle. Look at my ankle, how big it is.
No.
Reporters say, you quit. That's a cardinal sin in pro sports. You can't quit. He quit in the middle of a game. At least Vontae Davis waited till halftime and pieced him out and left the light like, I'm out. I'm done.
He did.
But Skip, how you quit in the middle? How you throw your pads in the middle of the game?
You quit spectacularly.
Yes.
Yes.
So how do you convince the voters this is not who I am when they see the pattern of history that you displayed?
A very good point that will prevail, I'm fearing.
All right, we'll get back to AB and hear Tom Brady's perspective on it in just a bit. But let's switch to some Lakers, because despite receiving plenty of criticism, Russell Westbrook is staying the course with his game. He told reporters, quote, I'm allowed to miss shots. I can do that. Like any other player, I can do that. I can turn the ball over too. I can do that. That's all part of the game. And LeBron backed up his point guard, saying Westbrook's, quote, his presence on the floor helps us. Shannon, what's your reaction to all of this?
LeBron is a great teammate. I've never heard Bron call out a teammate individually, even though, Skip, this is what I know about an athlete and what they say publicly versus what they're thinking privately. I can assure you when LeBron James is laying next to his wife, Savannah James, he's thinking there's no way in hell we can win with this guy.
I agree with that.
He will never say that publicly.
When he's talking to Maverick and Rich, he's just spilling on that.
There is no way, Skip, for him to say, I can miss shots, for him to say it's okay for me to turn the ball over, is the equivalent to say, he said that's not, his job is not to score, score the ball. Yes, it is. A quarterback job is to throw passes and not turn it over. Russ, we understand that turnovers are a part of the game, but not the same turnovers every single night. Jumping up in the air with no place to go with the ball. Throwing the ball wildly out of bounds over the top of the backboard. See, Skip, instead of saying this is what he should have said, this is what people that care about the game and not their stats. What he should have said, you know what? You're right. I need to do a better job of protecting the basketball. Because if I do a better job of protecting the basketball, because I'm the quarterback of the team, everybody else would do a better job of protecting the basketball. But that's not what he did. He became defiant. I can miss shots. Everybody else miss shots. I can turn the ball over.
I'm allowed to, he said.
You see? Instead of taking onus and saying, you know what, you're right. I do need to do a better job of taking care of the basketball because my job as the point guard is to make sure everybody gets involved, but minimize putting the ball in the harm's way. That's what he should have said. That's what a LeBron, that's what the greats would have said. A Steph Curry, a Kevin Durant. KD's like, I need to do a better job. I need to shoot the ball better. I need to do this better. But not Russ. Russ becomes defiant because Russ think everything that you say, Russ, that's a part of it. You're a superstar. You get held to a higher standard than an average guy. Hence why he hadn't won. I don't care how great your team is. You give me a quarterback that turns the ball over and you can't play well enough around him. Russell Westbrook, no matter how, look at LeBron, what he's doing. He's doing things as if he was 25, and he can't overcome it. The man is averaging 30, 10, and 8, and he can't overcome that play. You can't. Kevin Durant, think about when Kevin Durant was winning 4 scoring titles, averaging 32, shooting 50% from the floor. He couldn't overcome that in his prime.
Thank you.
And we expect LeBron James to overcome that in year 19? He doesn't get it. He doesn't care to get it. And therein lies his problem.
Therein lies, and will continue to lie, because he is lying to himself.
Of course he is.
This is all-time delusionally defiant. And the first answer the other night after the game was the one that got me right in the heart, because I watched for years Russ in Oklahoma City with that media team, that PR team in Oklahoma, of the Thunder, protecting him, babying him, and spoiling him rotten, because they would either shut down reporters' questions or Russ would shoot down their questions. And it was childish because they were good questions, they were fair questions, they were honest questions, and they were reasonable questions, and he would not answer them. Well, guess what, Russ? You're no longer in Oklahoma City. You're in Hollywood now. And Hollywood ultimately will hold you accountable. The media out here, maybe it's not as tough as New York media or even Philadelphia media or Boston media, but at some point the media here is going to get sick and tired of this and start to hold him more accountable.
Well, they should, Skip, because every time he goes to the podium, Skip, they can barely get him answered because he's on his phone. They can barely get him to answer questions. I'm like, bro, can you give them 10 minutes of your time? What is going on? I get
it's beneath them.
Thank you, Skip. I get you got a wife. I get that you have kids at home. But Skip, this is a part of your job, Russ. It is so blatantly disrespectful that you have so little regard for them and them doing their job that you can't get up your phone. Skip, every time they ask him a question, he's looking down, and then all of a sudden he looks up. He looks down, and I'm like, bro, give him 10 minutes, and then you can get on your phone and get up out of there. You played like trash. The man had 7 turnovers. He had 9 for the game. And LeBron said, well, you know what? Hey, he
7 by halftime.
7 by halftime. But Skip, LeBron's like, you know what? He did a better job of taking care of the ball in the first half. The second half.
Yep.
Yes, but you should have been up 20 with the way you shot the ball and the way you guys played. But because he turned it over 7 times, it allowed the Minnesota to stay in the ball game.
Okay. So an L.A. reporter after the game attempted to lob him a softball question. It was a very nice question, packaged by saying, you finally hit a big jump shot late in the game. It was 4.5 minutes left that put the team up 6.
Right. He got fouled, too, I think.
He got fouled. I'll show it to you in just a moment. But the reporter's question was, how did it feel to come up big in such a big moment after not playing your best?
Right.
Well, that's pretty fair.
Yeah, he didn't say you played terrible, which you had up until that point.
He had 9 turnovers.
Yes, thank you.
So he makes a shot on which he gets fouled, and if we could see that now, please. He gets hacked as he shoots it, and I am convinced, if you see this, his arm got hit. I swear it knocked it off course into the basket because I think it was going to be a miss, but because he got his hand slapped, it actually knocked it on course into the hoop, right? And it gave him an and one, and of course he went right to the free throw line and missed the and one because right now from the free throw line, Russell Westbrook, your starting point guard, is making 65.6% of his free throws. That ranks 98th of 100 qualified free throw shooters. 98th. It's horrendous. I used to say about Lonzo when he was a baby in the league. You can't shoot 60%.
Not as a point guard.
Yeah.
If you're big, if you're a center.
Oh, yeah.
But not as your point guard.
Yeah,
no.
But if you're 6'3", you can't do that.
Right.
Right? Okay. So at that point, he says, Russ's response was, I disagree with your question. I disagree with the part that the game wasn't going my way. Really?
What game was he watching?
Okay, I don't know, because I think it's time once again for us to take one more look at what we call the Russell Westbrook turnover blooper reel, the TBR of the day. This was actually off Sunday's game, if we could see it from start to finish. This is what Russ said he's just fine with. Really?
1.
Up in the air, no plan. Russ, just think. That's just
2.
bad hands. Yep. Russ, just take it easy now. That's
3.
wild hands. Russ, have a plan. No, he
4.
has no plan. 4. This is getting painful. Ooh, that's
5.
That's bad. 5.
6.
Charge.
Russ. 7. That's in the first half, folks.
7 in the first half. That was a double dribble. Okay, there's 8, right? We up to 8. And then
9.
What was that about? There were like 3. Who were they playing? Memphis?
Minnesota.
Minnesota. What I'm saying, Minnesota. There were 3 T-Wolves in between him and LeBron. And that happened. Okay, so you have 9 turnovers and you finish 0 of 5 from 3. And by the way, he's now shooting 30.2% from 3. That ranks 148th of 155 qualified in the league. That's about as bad as the free throws.
Dang.
Okay, so 9 turnovers, 0 for 5 from 3, and you say, I disagree with the part that the game wasn't going my way. What are you talking about?
He's delusional.
You got to own a little bit of it because your teammates would love you if you would just own a little bit.
Yeah. The dude says, my game, is fine. He said, my game is not predicated on shots or if I turn the ball over. Skip,
Everybody's game is.
What if a quarterback said, my game is not predicated on throwing the football and turning the ball over? That's exactly what your job is, Russ. You're the point guard.
Point guard.
Do you understand what your job entails? The man said his game is not predicated on making shots or turning the ball over.
Okay. What does he believe his game is predicated on? Triple doubles. For the last 5 years, average a triple double. He's within range right now. He's averaging 20 points, 8 rebounds, 8 assists. He's within range of averaging a triple-double for his beloved Lakers that he grew up living and dying for right here in Southern California. If he could just boost it up a little bit, he's got to hit the boards a little bit harder and continue to try to get the ball to open shooters or for dunks, right?
Right.
8 and 8. Within range, within shouting distance. Right. What if he could go 20, 10, and 10 for the Lakers? Is that possible? So he predicates his whole game on hustle.
Yes.
Like, I'm going to hustle for the basketball harder than any guard in the league.
Right.
He's beyond. Remember Fat Lever who played for the Denver Nuggets? I used to think he's a 6'3" guard. He was the greatest rebounding guard I ever saw. And in a couple of years, he averaged 10 rebounds.
Right.
Well, this guy is way beyond that, but somehow we've put such value on it because no one had ever done this.
Right.
Since Oscar, we have to go way back to, what was it, 63?
61, 62 season.
Yeah, okay. Since Oscar averaged a triple-double, and we thought that was impossibly great.
Right.
And he's done it 4 of the last 5, and within shouting distance of another year.
Yeah.
Okay, so now he's a first-ballot slam dunk Hall of Famer. We all acknowledge that's going to happen.
Right.
So in the end, the wins and losses don't matter to him. I don't think the championship matters because he said faithfully the other day, the sun's going to come up if we don't win a championship. Right. He's going to be in the Hall of Fame. What does he care?
You're right, Russ. But see, the problem that Russ has, Skip, he's like, okay, missing shots and turning the ball over. But you do more of those than anybody else in the league. That's the problem. Okay, so what? Okay, somebody might miss more shots than you. Somebody might turn it over. But you can't be 1 or 2 in both categories.
And by the way, speaking of that, he leads the NBA in turnovers with 181. Second on the list is James Harden at 152. 181 to 152. Obviously, James hasn't played as many games as Russ.
But he's 4.8 a game, Skip.
The good news and the bad news for you is Russ hadn't missed a game.
Right.
He's the new Iron Man.
Yes.
And that's to a fault because sometimes you wish he would miss a game here or there.
He's averaging 4.8 turnovers a game. There's not a player, there haven't been a player created yet that could overcome that.
No.
It's just like a football team, Skip. You turn the ball over. If you're turnover prone, because when you get into the playoffs and you turn it over, you're going home. Throw pick sixes in the playoffs and see what happens to your team. I don't care how good your defense is. I don't care how good your special teams is. Or you turn the ball over, you go home. Well, there it is. Allah. And Kevin Durant won 4 scoring titles. As great as Kevin Durant is, think about that. He cannot overcome that.
And what's become glaringly obvious to me that didn't hit me before in his stops in Oklahoma City or Houston or Washington, his hands are so bad.
I didn't either, Skip.
They're
I didn't really.
Terrible.
Right.
Like LeBron has great hands because half of basketball is catching the pass.
Right.
And LeBron's a great catcher because I think he would have been a great receiver in your game. Maybe the contact would have taken him out. But still, he can catch it. You have to be able to catch the pass.
Right.
He can't catch it, and he can't hold on to it.
No.
It's crazy. It's wild. It's high schoolish. It's church league-ish.
But he will not accept responsibility.
No.
All he has to do is say, yes, I need to do a better job of taking care of the basketball.
Yep.
That's my responsibility. I'm the point guard.
Sam Presti and the Thunder spoiled him rotten. That's what happened.
Well, they did a disservice to a lot of people.
They did.
Because now he feels emboldened like, oh, that's not my game is not predicated on making shots and turning the ball over. What the hell you think your game is predicated on?
Hustle.
But he don't smart. He's not smart.
No.
His IQ for basketball, all that hustling, flying around and diving on loose ball, man, look at Russ. But the right play, the smart play, he ain't making that.
No mercy. Now, while the Eagles might rest their starters against Dallas this weekend, Jerry Jones, Mike McCarthy, and Dak Prescott have all said they'd like to see the Cowboys play to win in the season finale. The Dallas owner went as far to say this is what gets you ready for the playoffs. So, Shannon, should they play their starters, and if so, for how long?
Yeah, I believe they should, Skip. I believe I will play them at least to the half. That's the bare minimum that I'm going to play them. Skip, this offense has not been clicking. The last time they beat a team that's going to be in the playoffs was 12 weeks ago. That was the Patriots. Skip, for whatever reason, this offense haven't been consistently what many thought it would be. You want to say slump, you want to say Dak's played bad, he had a bad spell, or whatever the case is. The last half of the season, Dak hasn't been consistent or good enough in order for this team to go where you believe they can go. You believe this team is an NFC championship, possibly Super Bowl contending team. Not with Dak playing the way he's playing. Not with the offense being as inconsistent as it is. You want some momentum. You said you need to be streaking going to the playoffs. The Cowboys are not streaking. And the last thing that you want to do, Skip, is to not play well. Get you some good momentum going into the playoffs and let the chips fall where they may. I would play my starters at least to the half at the bare minimum to have a good taste in my mouth going into the playoffs. But I don't know why you would sit, especially your offensive guys, considering they've been inconsistent over the last half of the season.
What do you always tell me about? My Cowboys do cowboy things when you least expect it or when you most want it. I fear cowboy things at Philadelphia. I fear some wild, weird, I'm knocking on wood, injury to somebody crucial. I've seen enough. I've heard enough. They've done enough. As they say in Texas, the hay is in the barn. Heck, they say that in Georgia. Right?
They do.
The hay is in the barn.
Right.
It's been baled, and it's time for the horses to just take it easy and eat it.
Oh, so you just want to relax. You go to rest the horses.
I actually think they got a break losing to Arizona. At least they didn't get embarrassed by Arizona. They didn't get annihilated and humiliated the way they did on Monday Night Football a year ago when they literally got run off the field by 261 yards rushing. Kyler was masterful.
Right.
Best I've ever seen him play. He controlled the game from start to finish. I just tip my cap to him and say, young man, you were just too good today. I don't know what good you can do trying to play a quarter or maybe a half, and you go into it tiptoeing. I don't like tiptoeing into these games. Now they're saying the Eagles have 12 on the COVID list. I don't know what's going to happen. Are they going to be able to pass out of it? I don't know. Goddard's on it and Fletcher Cox, and who knows?
Well, you got to play, Skip, because you can't postpone it because the playoffs start next week. So this is easy.
But when I say they got a break, the Dallas Cowboys.
Oh, yeah.
The break is that, okay, now all bets are off. You had a shot at the 2 seed.
You still got a chance, Skip.
But you don't. It's a long shot at best.
What about the 3 seed?
Okay, but I don't care about the 3 seed. It's not valuable enough to go play and risk for. And again, it looked like Kirk Cousins was going up to Lambeau, and I thought Kirk, because he had done a number on the Packers before, I thought they had a chance.
Yes.
And right on schedule, COVID struck again, and Kirk Cousins, unvaccinated, tested positive.
Right.
Well, that's the end of that deal because it's going to be a rout.
Yes.
With Sean Mannion at quarterback for the Minnesota Vikings. He hung in for a while and did the best he could. But you knew and I knew what was about to happen.
Correct.
They were about to clinch the 1 seed. So if they had lost to Kirk Cousins and we had beaten Arizona, we were in prime position. We'd have to go close the deal at Philadelphia, but we could be the 1 seed.
Right.
Okay, that's to die for.
Right.
That's to play for. Well, effectively, you got a quote-unquote 1 seed because you got a bye break here because you don't need this at all. Look, I've told you from the start, my team is better on the road than at Jerry World. Jerry World does scare me because all the disasters this year, all the nightmare games have happened at home.
Yeah.
On the road, they've been really good. They almost beat the GOAT at the GOAT on opening night, and they did beat Belichick at Belichick. And I thought the defense played great against Mahomes at Mahomes. The offense, not so much.
But that's the thing, Skip.
Okay.
Do you like the way your offense is played the second half of the season? Is that how you want to go into the playoffs?
But how can you go fix it for a half against the COVID depleted Eagles?
Hey, Skip, you just want to...
Just practice.
No.
You're okay.
But see...
Hey, if you're practicing, it's a pretty good defense, right?
But what you do, Skip, is that you give yourself some confidence, is that, like what you did, you see how you came out here when y'all did what y'all did to Atlanta? And when y'all did what y'all did to the Carolina Panthers and y'all beat some of these bad teams, you felt real good about yourself. You're like, yeah, I've seen enough. Okay, because I could eye test it, and you could eye test it, and there were many times during the year when you said, okay, I see it, I see it. Like, there's firepower there. But what have your eyes told you the last half of the season? That my quarterback has struggled. Okay. That's what. And in the first 3 quarters the other day, he was just off target. Yes. And the one thing that scares me the most about any quarterback is inaccuracy. Yes. To the point that you start to get a little happy-footed in the pocket. He got 5 passes batted down. Mm-hmm. Kyler got none. Kyler's about, 3 inches shorter than Dak. And yet Kyler's got that knack, that wizardry of, it's a little subtle sidestep here or there to create a lane. Mm-hmm. And Dak wasn't creating it all. He was off kilter because he was starting to second guess his reads. And if you start second guessing your reads, you're not going to have enough time and presence to create a quick throwing lane to Dalton Schultz, whoever. Now it's like Dalton Schultz or bust, which is starting to become like such a security blanket. Like you can't win that way
When in doubt, throw it to Dalton, right?
Right.
Well, he's not going to really kill you with run after catch, you know.
Right. He
like,
don't catch it,
like Travis Kelce.
Right. And Kittles or those Kittles.
If they get loose on you, man,
Right.
they could listen. Kelce can flat out run for his size.
Yes.
To me,
Yes.
he's got gazelle in him.
Right.
And he can hurt you downfield. But Dalton Schultz has got great hands, and he's a tough guy, and he'll catch the football.
He's a good third down guy. He'll get you close to the goal. If you close to the end zone, you throw it to him, he'll make a tough catch for you. But he's not no run after catch guy.
Okay,
he's not no guy that you're like, man, we got to stop him or else we're not going to win this game.
Okay, so it's degenerated into that, and I've seen enough. Why don't you just rest Tyron Smith's ankle? You know, he doesn't need to play, and I don't want Dak out there unless the first team line is in there.
What about Terrence Steele? Terrence Steele has done a great job.
Okay, let him rest. Give him a bye. What is gold this time? What was everybody playing for? We want a bye. Well, you've got a bye. You've got one. Don't play anybody. Just play your backups.
Hold on. Don't you want to see CD and Dak get on the same wavelength? They got you say they got no chemistry.
It's starting to look shakier by the throw.
Okay.
To me, but you can do that in practice. Don't risk it in the game. I don't want to get. CD has a propensity for trying to run after catch, and he is a high collision receiver where he gets tagged occasionally. Where I say, "Whoops, there he goes." We already had one concussion. Falling backwards at Kansas City as Dak threw an interception into the end zone at the end of the half.
Well, I think the biggest thing, the mistake they're making is they put him on punt return. And I get it, Skip. Okay. He's so dangerous.
Every once in a while, you think we got to cash it. One big play is going to turn the tide.
Yeah, you know what, Skip? Maybe if it's like we got them backed up, they're putting out of their own end zone. You want to get, because you know he can give you great field position. But I think for them to have him back there more times than not, you're asking for trouble.
I don't disagree. Okay, and it hasn't manifested where I say, you know what, that's worth the risk, because I haven't seen it.
You remember, Skip, Tyreek used to be the Chiefs punt returner. But Andy realized, you know what, man, I get you dinged, and you take such a big part of my offense. Now, you've already missed Gallup. You take CD out of the offense, and now you just go into battle with Amari. Now, you know Amari is hit and miss. Amari had 3 catches, one almost for a touchdown, but Amari hadn't shown up in a very long time, Skip.
He hasn't, and he often doesn't show up on the road, so I'm hoping he rises and shines at home.
I mean, I don't know, you know, I know you like Noah Brown, you like Cedric Wilson, but I don't know if you really like going into battle with them with Noah Brown, Cedric Wilson, and Amari Cooper.
The Eagles scare me because they've always scared me. I've told you, I know these rivalries within the division. You had individual rivalries in the West where it's different with different teams.
Yes.
There's either a level of respect or there's not.
Right.
Like, there's something about Philadelphia. It's hatred, and it's like below the belt kind of hatred.
Right.
It's dirty pool hatred, and I just don't want to see.
Buddy put a bounty on your kicker.
That's what I'm saying.
they did one sack Troy like 9 times.
They did. But the point is, it's bad blood. It's worse blood than the Dallas Washington is.
Right.
So I don't want to risk going in there. It's going to be cold, and they're going to be coming for their pound of flesh. If they get a shot, they're going to take it.
Of course.
I don't want to risk any of it. I just want my guys to say, we got 2 weeks to get ready for whoever it's going to be. And if it's Arizona and they all said after the game, bring on Arizona, I say bring them on.
Okay.
And I love my chances.
Be careful what you wish for.
Okay, well, I'm wishing for Kyler to come back.
You hear that, Kyler?
Kyler, I'm wishing for you to come back to the building. You are 9-0 in, 9-0.
It's up by Texas.
Including high school. Well, guess what? Your luck's going to run out. I'm not saying you were lucky the other day.
Is that what you said?
I just said masterful.
You just said his luck's going to run out.
Well, at some point it will, because the ball's not going to bounce your way.
It didn't.
Yep. We would get that. We will beat Arizona if Arizona comes back. I love that matchup.
Why you love it so much?
I want the rematch. I want it.
Have you seen?
I want it.
They beat you last year. They beat you in the preseason. They beat you in the regular season. I mean, well, damn, how many more times you want them to beat you?
So, bottom line to this discussion, do I trust drop the Mike McCarthy to make the right choice here? Nope. He's saying, damn the torpedoes, full speed ahead. We're going to play. I won't be surprised if he plays his starters the whole game.
What is Jerry going to say? This is a Jerry Jones decision. This is not a Mike McCarthy decision, and you know it's not a Mike McCarthy decision.
Well, I hope Jerry has half a brain on this one.
You know good well.
Yeah, maybe he'll call somebody who's smarter than him. Maybe he'll call Jimmy. They've kind of rebonded a little bit. Call Jimmy. What would Jimmy'd say? Don't play.
Why would he call Jimmy when he said Mike McCarthy needed his respect? He needed his come up. He need to get his credit. Last week he said, hey, he hadn't gotten enough credit. He needs to get his credit for what he's doing with his team.
Lip service.
No mercy.
Sunday, it's the season finale of the NFL regular season on Fox. A big doubleheader starts with the Packers taking on the Lions or other regional action. Then, in America's Game of the Week, the 49ers try to win their way into the playoffs against a Rams team looking to clinch the NFC West title. Check local listings for the game in your area only on Fox and the Fox Sports app. Now, despite Antonio Brown leaving the Buccaneers sideline mid-game on Sunday, Tom Brady doesn't have any hard feelings for his receiver. On the Let's Go podcast, Brady said, quote, "We've obviously been teammates, and I would just say I love him. I care about him, and I have a lot of compassion and a lot of empathy for the things that are happening in his life." Shannon, TB12 made similar comments after the game on Sunday, imploring everybody to have compassion for AB. So do you agree with what Tom said?
I do. And I believe Tom is sincere in what he said, Skip. I think Tom is a great teammate. I would have loved to play for Tom because I love playing with guys that's willing to sacrifice. I love playing with guys that I know how important the game is to them. And for Tom, I think any relationship, when you have someone that's willing to sacrifice and you both want the same things, anything can be accomplished. I feel Tom is like that. I do believe Tom sincerely wants what's best for AB. The man stuck his neck out for AB. The man had the damn man in his house.
He did.
He didn't say, go stay in some hotel. Yeah, I want you here, but go stay in a hotel.
He did.
Stay with me.
That is correct.
What better? Hell, I got a friend here. I ain't let him stay in my house. I get your hotel room. The man let him stay in his house, Skip. What more? It's disappointing that this is what the man was willing to do for AB to get him back in the league. Like I said before, I do not believe AB would have been in the league had Tom Brady not did what he did for him.
Agreed.
Now, I could be wrong. Maybe somebody down the road would have given him an opportunity. But when that guy gives you an opportunity, that speaks volume. That's just not some quarterback. That's just not some willy-nilly. That man says, I want him. And I can make it work. Let me show you. Put his arms around him, had him in his house, talked to him. This is what we need you to do. Hey, I'm going to get you your incentive money. Force fed him. Go look at the game last year. Force fed him.
He did.
AB had been out 4 or 5 weeks, come back against Carolina, force fed him, 15 targets, 10 catches, 100 yards. There is no doubt in my mind, if AB had $1 million bonus to get, Tom Brady was going to make sure he got it.
Yep.
BA was going to make sure he's got it.
Agreed.
BA ain't coming out of my pocket.
Yep.
And this is what the man did to him. Skip, it's sad. I just don't get why he would. I feel, Skip, the way you stuck your neck out for me, I'm here because of you. I know that. The last thing I want to do is to do anything. Like, man, I F this up for Skip. That man vouched for me. No other athlete had ever had to side across day to day and to somebody that has a journalism degree and talk topics. I'm the first. There are a lot of doing it now, but I was the first.
You were.
And you vouched for me.
I did.
So I got to be on my best behavior at all times because I'm a representative of you because you vouched for me. AB should have thought that same way. Man, Tom Brady vouched for me, but I can't let this man down. No matter what I got going, I'm gonna be on my best behavior just for him. And I just can't believe AB did this man like that. I just like I said, hey, I'm not a medical health expert.
Yeah.
I'm gonna let people that. Hopefully, like B.A. said, if he needs help, hopefully he can go get it. Maybe those close around to him for once in their life, stop telling AB what he wants to hear and tell him what he needs to know. Because this is irrational behavior, and it's not a good look on him.
Yep.
And he's probably going to end his NFL career. But I agree with Tom. I believe Tom will try and help him. Tom is not a guy that does things publicly. So when he says he will, Tom will probably be behind the scene. I would be surprised if Tom hadn't already reached out. Now, whether or not he's gotten back in touch with Tom, I don't know that. But I would be shocked if Tom hadn't reached out. AB, are you okay? AB, what can I do?
Okay, before I answer the question, allow me to say about you, my partner, that not only did you take this challenge in 2016 to sit across from me, but you've stood up to this challenge for 6 years on this show. That's Hall of Fame to me.
Appreciate it.
Now, back to Tom Brady. In all my years at ESPN and here, working with so many expatriates, I've told you before, I've never heard a single negative word about Tom Brady as a teammate, that he is legit, And the words that echo in my head even now are, man, James Harrison saying, I went up there at the end of my career on my radar op because I thought maybe he's phony baloney.
Right.
You know, he's not for real in the locker room behind closed doors.
Right.
And James Harrison said, nope, he's legit.
Yep.
100%. Okay, so I've heard from so many ex-teammates that when they run into Brady, he's so legit and real that he'll come up and hug you and kiss you on the cheek,
right?
Which is a little weird for some guys, but it's like that's who he is.
Yeah.
That's Tom Brady. Mm-hmm. And yet his love for AB is it's intertwined with need. He loves him because he needed him, and vice versa, right?
Right.
And obviously he pulled it off. They pulled it off together. They went and won a Super Bowl together, and by all accounts, AB was on his best behavior because we didn't hear a peep.
Nope.
Right?
Nope.
Okay, so that worked. And Tom's quote on his podcast last night was, I care about him, I have a lot of compassion and a lot of empathy for the things that are happening in his life. Well, I don't know exactly what's going on in AB's life that we should have maybe more empathy or even pure sympathy for than we know. Maybe I just don't know enough to know. Mm-hmm. So the counter argument here came from Mike Freeman, for whom I have respect, who's writing for USA Today today. And he harks back to the quote after the game in which Tom said, I think everyone should be compassionate and empathetic towards some very difficult things that AB's going through. And Mike asked the question, should we be showing Antonio Brown compassion when he has shown a lot of people little to no compassion?
Correct.
And he lists a lot of the people who were victimized or at least alleged victims.
Yes.
Did he show compassion there? We don't have enough show to go through all the there.
Correct.
So I'm going to read Mike's conclusion. Mike Freeman, USA Today, says, it's likely that Antonio Brown is a combination of two things. An awful person who's been accused of some awful things, particularly accusations of sexually assaulting and raping women, and perhaps a mentally troubled man who has been enabled every step of his NFL career and was never forced to deal with his mental health.
Correct. I like that. That sounds plausible.
And I hark back to June 12th of 2020 when Antonio pled no contest to the charges about he assaulted, it was burglary and battery of the delivery man. Got 2 years probation. He was also ordered to undergo a psychological evaluation and follow-up treatment and to attend anger management courses. Well, did that happen? I'm going to have to assume because the court charged him to do that.
Right. And he probably went to the bare minimum. They say he goes 6. He probably went 6 times and then go a 7th or 8th. Okay.
Did it connect? Did it click? Did it hit home? Any of the counseling? I don't know.
Right.
It's always hard to know, and I'm not a mental health professional as you are not. So when Tom indicates and Bruce Arians indicate he needs help, even James Harrison has said that back to 2016 on this show. He needs help. I don't know where to go with that because I don't know if he sought help, if it just didn't work, or if he refuses it, he feels like he's above it, he doesn't need it, he's oblivious to it. I don't know.
Well, nothing works unless you do, Skip. I mean, no matter what the case may be, whether you're alcoholic and you seek help for alcoholism or you're a drug addict and you seek help for your addiction, it doesn't work unless you work. And you got to work at it. And every time, you don't get your way, and it seems like anytime he doesn't get his way, I want to go in now. No. Okay, well, I ain't going in at all. And everything has to be a public spectacle. Some of his biggest flame-outs has been what, Skip? For the public to see. He got into a disagreement with his kid's mom. And instead of handling behind closed doors, he IG it live. He thought, come on, bro, that's unnecessary. Your kid's going to be able to see that one day. So everything needs to be played out publicly for him. And I just don't get it. Like I said, I do believe Tom sincerely cares about his well-being. Yes, Tom Tom was trying to kill two birds. If I can keep him close, maybe I can keep him out of trouble. But in the process of me keeping him out of trouble, he can help me win also. So two things can be true. But I do believe Tom will reach out privately, never going to be publicly.
So do I.
And try to do something to help Antonio Brown. But AB is going to need to help AB. At the end of the day, this is going to come down to AB helping AB.
Yep.
We create demons. Only we can chase them away. So whatever the case may be, like Mike Freeman said, he might be a horrible person and he might have some issues that he needs to deal with. All that starts with Antonio Brown.
It does. Bottom line to this is what I believe about Brady. If 5 years from now, AB called him and said, bro, I need help.
Yeah.
I think Brady would help.
Yeah.
That's the bottom line.
Yes. I believe that also.
You just hope if Brady does reach out privately, AB doesn't make it public. That's all I hope for.
No mercy.
Baker Mayfield's future in Cleveland continues to hang in the balance. The Browns QB tossed 2 picks in last night's loss, was sacked 9 times, and has still not signed a long-term deal with the team. So, Shannon, fill in the blank here. In 5 years, Baker Mayfield will be
a below-average starting quarterback, but I don't think he'll be in Cleveland. He's the number 1 pick in the draft, Skip, and I believe he was the number 1 overall pick. He was graded the number 1 player on a lot of people's draft board, not just Cleveland's. So when you get a situation like that, obviously there are going to be opportunities. We see some guys. Mike Glennon is still in the league. Mannion is still in the league from Minnesota, Skip. We saw, even though Josh Johnson is bounced around, Skip, he's still in the league, guys. So he's going to, Joe Flacco is still in the league, even though Joe Flacco won a Super Bowl. So I believe Baker will get an opportunity, even 5 years from now, to get an opportunity to compete for a starting job if he's not a starter. I just don't believe that he'll ever be what the Cleveland Browns envisioned him to be when they selected him number 1 overall. And so I don't believe he'll be in Cleveland 5 years from now. I believe he'll have an opportunity to start, but I believe he'll just be a middle-of-the-road quarterback. That's what I see from him, Skip. Nothing he does stand out. Does he have overwhelming size? No. Does he have an elite athleticism? No. Does he have a cannon for an arm? No. So is he extremely accurate? No. Is he careful with the football? No. All the things that he was in college, extremely accurate, very careful with the football. He's been none of those things since he's gotten to the NFL. So for me, Skip, that's where I am on this situation. I believe he'll be average to below average. I do believe he'll have an opportunity to start somewhere. I don't believe he'll be in Cleveland.
But you will not go to bust. And we have seen first picks in the draft, Tim Couch and Jamarcus Russell. We've seen busts before.
Okay, he will not live up to the expectations that you and the Cleveland Browns and many others have set forth for him. Skip, when you say a guy's a bust, I mean, he might play 10 or 11 years. It's hard to be a bust and play that length of time. He was a walk-on at 2 universities, won a Heisman Trophy, became the number 1 overall draft pick. And that in and of itself, Skip, you can't be a bust if that's your resume. You might not win a championship. You might not go to a Super Bowl. But if you got that on your resume, I walked on 2 universities. I won a Heisman Trophy, which signifies I'm the best player in college football. And I later became the number 1. How many walk-ons have ever been the number 1 overall draft pick, Skip? He might be the only one.
I would say he's the only one.
He's the only one. How many walk-ons have ever won the Heisman Trophy? Probably he's the only one.
And to your point, he's a 2-time walk-on.
Yes! We see guys walk on, but Skip, we don't see guys walk on and win the Heisman Trophy.
Okay. I will answer the question by saying in 5 years, Baker Mayfield will be a highly successful starting quarterback elsewhere. I don't know where the elsewhere is because I don't know how it's all going to shake out.
Right.
I just know this is the classic case of needs a change of scenery. That locker room has become a viper's nest of issues, most of them swirling around Baker Mayfield. He's addressed it. He's talked about it, how difficult the year has been as much off the field as on the year.
Yeah.
Okay, so one of us is going to be very right and one of us is going to be very wrong about this. And my issues are, who is the real Baker? That's what we got to get the bottom line. Is he that guy who in his rookie league took this league by storm? By storm. Again, Pro Football Focus graded his overall rookie year. It was
third best?
13 starts. I think it was, he missed 2. Maybe it was, I think it was 13 starts. It was the third best since they've been grading the last 15 years. They gave him 40 big-time throws in evaluation, 40, which ended up third in the league that year in reduced starts. That's pretty great. So I actually got to see that with the Tim Couch or Jamarcus Russell or even Ryan Leaf. I never saw anything. Like, I didn't see any hope where you say, oh, there it is.
Right.
Oh, no. I saw that. Then I saw Odell go there in his second year, and he started to unravel, trying to force feed the ball to Odell. I'm not blaming Odell. I'm blaming Baker for that because he loved Odell, and he wanted to be Odell's best friend off the field and on the field. And I think Baker mistakenly thought that Odell was a superstar when Odell was starting not to be a superstar anymore. So then we get to year 3, and once Odell gets injured, game 6 at Cincinnati, Baker takes off. Is that the real Baker? Because he went 11 games, threw 20 touchdowns to only 3 picks, and he beat that same Pittsburgh team, except it was much healthier and better, in a playoff game at that same stadium you saw him stink it up in last night. Ben stunk it up too, but they both stunk it up. But Baker put up 48 on that defense last year and threw for 3 touchdowns and looked like a star to me. And that's on his resume. I tested that and I saw it. And I think he has an above average arm when it's right. And this year in game number 2, he played great at Kansas City in the opener, threw for 321. He looked like a star to me this year's opening game. Game 2, at home against the Texans, he threw a pick after he completed his first 9 passes. On his 11th attempt of the game, he threw a pick. Justin Reed is running it back, and Baker runs over there because that's what he's made of. He's full of piss and vinegar, and he goes and just rocks him with his left shoulder and tore his labrum and fractured his shoulder. Not a wise move for the quarterback, but as Baker says, that's just what I'm made of. So he fought all year long, and you give him no credit for that because he played hurt when he shouldn't have even been playing because he had to wear a harness. Shoulder popped out once when J.J. Watt landed on top of him, and he had to miss 1 game. Needed surgery then, but said, no, I'm going to suck it up, tough it out for my team. You give him no credit for that whatsoever. And last night he said, if anybody wants to question my toughness, just put this tape in because he battled his butt off last night.
No, you get credit for wins.
Okay, so the point is they did not win this year. Do you chalk it up to some injury? Because his coordinator, Alex Van Pelt, made a strong statement the other day that the harness definitely handicapped him all year. You could just see how his mechanics were off. And he says next year his mechanics will be back once he gets it fixed. Baker should have gotten it fixed immediately, but he thought they had a shot at the playoffs. And until...
Not with him at quarterback, they didn't.
Okay, but until your Chiefs went to to Cincinnati the other day and lost, they were still right in the thick of the division race.
And they still would have lost last night.
Okay, well, I don't know about that.
I do.
Well, they had nothing to play for.
Yeah, you got something to play for.
It was done.
Anytime you get on that football field, there's something to play for.
Yeah,
put that film on. Don't put no bad tape out there, Skip. First of all, has he galvanized the locker room? Does the team rally around him? I've seen guys.
The team rallied around Odell.
Okay,
beloved, godlike. Yep.
Well, let me tell you how you get the team to rally around you. Lead them back to fourth quarter. There's some fourth quarter games that's hanging in the balance. You lead them back to a victory. But you can't lead them back when you got the worst fourth quarter passer rating in the entire league. You're 26th in QBR behind 4 rookies and Sam Darnold. And you lead the league in interceptions since you've entered the league. Tied for the most interceptions in the fourth quarter with Matt Ryan. And you got QBR of the 23rd his rookie year, 19th the second year, 10th last year.
10th.
And now you're 26.
Right, that 10th is pretty good.
That 10th is great.
Wouldn't that raise your eyebrows and say,
Yeah, and then 20 to 26 was like, close your eyes. I raised my eyebrows like, he got a 10. And then he got 27. Like,
Yep. I dare the Cleveland Browns to cut bait with Baker Mayfield. Let him go. Let him be. Let him rise and shine elsewhere because he will. He will come back to haunt you.
He's not a phoenix.
Okay.
There'll be no rising.
Maybe.
He's not going to be no rising.
Go to Phoenix.
He's an ostrich, he's an emu. He's flightless. You notice? He's flightless. He can't soar like the eagle or a condor. He can't fly.
One of us is going to be very wrong about Baker Mayfield because I believe I've been right from the start.
He's an ostrich or emu. He's a flightless bird.
He needs surgery. He's going to get surgery. I hope he's getting it tomorrow.
Yeah, well, they got to get all them people, the quarterbacks that put their foot in his butt. They got to get that removed.
No mercy. Saturday on Fox, UConn battle number 24 Seton Hall in a crucial Big East matchup. Then it's a heated Big Ten in-state showdown between number 10 Michigan State and Michigan. A huge day of college hoops tips off Saturday at 11:30 Eastern on Fox. and the Fox Sports app. Now, Oklahoma freshman quarterback Caleb Williams announced via Twitter that he will be entering the transfer portal. The Sooner QB admitted that Oklahoma is still an option, but he needed to enter the portal in order to talk to other schools. Skip, what's going on here?
Shannon Sharpe. For once, I'm going to remove myself from my fandom because I was born and bred a University of Oklahoma football fan. I'm going much bigger picture because I think a lot of fans are not seeing the forest for the new trees that are growing in college football. I have sat for years and years on TV and pounded this desk. College football players and basketball players should be paid.
Yes.
Guess what's happening right now? They're going to be paid like never before. Mm-hmm. I believe that very soon, Caleb Williams, who is the ultimate prize in that portal right now, is going to be making the equivalent of NFL quarterback money. It's going to be cloaked and camouflaged as NIL.
Exactly.
But he's going to make huge money because he is it. He is going to find himself in the middle of the biggest bidding war in the history of college football, because there's never been a bidding war in the history of college football. And I hark back to my days covering the SMU Mustangs when it was the ultimate scandal. They got the death penalty for it, and they were getting like $100 a week. You know, is our man Eric Dickerson, my old friend Craig James, Pony Express, and it was called the big documentary 30 for 30 was Pony Excess. and yet it was just nickels and dimes that they were getting paid illegally, and it was illegally. Right. And I kept saying, well, yeah, SMU is breaking bad rules because they were horrible rules.
Right.
Well, right now, ladies and gentlemen, there are no rules because there's no salary cap and there's no contract.
It's definitely the Wild Wild West.
It is the Wild Wild West because do you realize Caleb can go get his money now? Go to the highest bidder, wherever you want to go. If you like the school and you like the circumstance, you like the coach, but go to the highest bidder. And guess what? Next year, you could go back in the portal. If you don't like it there and you took your money for 1 year, you could go again, right? There's no contract. You don't have to sign for 4 years or 3 years or 2 years. You sign for 1 year, basically, because that's all you got. No rules. And I love it for the kids because you want to talk about a new day and age. Yes. I wish Shannon Sharpe could have experienced this when he came out of high school. I wish Sterling Sharpe, your big brother, could have experienced this because you would have made some money, man. I got to tell you, it's out there. And so what he's doing, and I cannot hate it. I can't because he is going to go play the field. Right. He's going to shop the market. Yeah. And already there are reports that Georgia is ready to make a huge offer, and I don't blame him. Yeah. Because he can play. I told you he can play. Yeah. And listen, these schools have powerful boosters. Oh, yeah. With big bucks. Deep pockets. The deepest, bottomless pockets you can imagine. And they will live and die for their school. Well, they've always been willing to pay this money anyway, and a lot of times they paid it under the table. Correct. But it was petty cash. Yes. Now it's serious. It's money. Real cash. It ain't no petty. It's like... Sky's the limit. Yeah, it ain't no meal money now, Skip. I mean, what would you pay? I'm a big fan of Caleb Williams because I told you he just splashed onto the scene against Texas this year and saved the game. And he goes those 4 straight games, QBRs. He went 98 against Texas, then 95 against TCU, and 94 at Kansas, and 96 against Texas Tech. And I said, he's right in the thick of the Heisman race until Lincoln Riley yanked him in the fourth quarter of the Baylor game when they were down only 10-7. But the point was, he exploded on the scene. He is a talented young man with, guess what? 2 more years of eligibility in college football. What do you think's going to happen? He'll get his highest bid, and then he will go back to Norman and go back to the University of Oklahoma and say, here it is. This is what I've been offered. Do you want to top it? Do you want to match it? What do you want to do with it? And they will have to prepare their offer. And I think some of his heart is still at Oklahoma. And my final point before I hand it to you is, he brought that kid Jaleel Farouk with him, who was a childhood friend from the Maryland area. And everybody recruited Jaleel Farouk. He's a receiver, about 6'1", 200. And he didn't get to play. I don't know why Lincoln Riley didn't play him in the year. He's down on him. I don't know. But he got to play in the Alamo Bowl when Stoops coached. And I'm sitting back watching on TV saying, Jaleel Farouk is a stud receiver, also a freshman, recruited by Alabama, Clemson, LSU, everybody. Well, you don't think they could be a package deal? What did Spencer Rattler already do? The preseason Heisman favorite, going to South Carolina. He went to South Carolina. I'm thinking, what does a kid from Phoenix want to do in South Carolina? Well, obviously, money had something to do with that. And who did he take with him? his favorite target, Austin Stogner, who's sort of he's a hybrid. He's like a hybrid tight end.
Yeah.
And so he's taken him as a Mark Andrews type to South Carolina with him. So you got package deals going on. You got rampant, wide open free agency in college football.
I agree with you, Skip. I have no problem with the kids entering transfer because now the kids have an opportunity to control their destiny. Hell, coaches do it all the time.
All the time.
Lincoln Ryan was in the transfer portal.
He just did it.
and the coach that just went to LSU was
yeah, I know.
From Notre Dame.
Yes.
Brian Kelly. Hell, he did it twice.
Yeah.
Now, Notre Dame had a chance to skip to get in the college football playoff.
Well, you don't even know they're in the portal. They're just suddenly
exactly gone. But now all of a sudden the kids, people want to look down at the kids.
No.
Oh, they don't care, especially if they opt out. Skip, I agree with you. This kid came to Oklahoma for Lincoln Riley. He's from D.C. And he saw the success that Lincoln Riley, Baker Mayfield, #1 overall, Kyler Murray, #1 overall, Jalen Hurts went the second round. He said, well, I play quarterback. Hey, you got those guys ready. You can get me ready.
Yep.
Where he leaves, now there's a possibility he could go to USC. Like you said, he might just stay. Jeff Lebby, who was the OC at Ole Miss, Matt Corral, he's has a first-round grade on him. Now, Skip, the guy from USC, Gabriel, he just transferred to Oklahoma. Jeff Lebby was his OC at UFC, broke his collarbone.
He did.
So now...
He was about to commit to UCLA, and he went to Oklahoma because he thinks the dominoes might fall his way.
Right. So now, I agree with you, Skip. These schools are going to pay. You look at... Nick Saban said Bryce Young had an 8-figure deal. That's before he even played the game. What the deal gonna look like next year after winning the Heisman?
I agree.
Winning the Heisman Trophy, dude might make $6-7 million next year.
Well, he should. Is he not worth that?
Yes.
Alabama?
So for me, Skip, get it all. Get all you can. And then, but his dad said, Caleb Williams' dad says he's going to go to a school that's going to prepare him for the NFL. That's first and foremost.
Okay.
To take that next step to go there.
Good.
So, Skip, I don't have a problem with these kids. These kids are, you send them to go to college to become independent and get a good education to understand how to, make money for yourself. Well, these kids get an early start of the night, Skip. They're not waiting till they graduate. They make a decision as freshmen. They make a decision as high school seniors. Okay, what y'all got over there? Oklahoma, what you got? Hey, Bama, they got like 85,000 this year. Can you do 150? Hey, Ohio State, what y'all got? Texas A&M. Look at Texas A&M.
Hey.
How you win the recruiting? Y'all ain't won a national championship in 1,000 years. How y'all getting all these top 300 picks, Skip?
It's a great school.
Yeah.
Okay.
But you ain't going to Skip. If you an ESPN top 300, you ain't going there because it's a great school. Hey, you try to get to the NFL.
I have a lot of friends in College Station.
They got money.
They got deep.
They got deep money.
Yes. Big, strong money.
Yeah, Alabama, Alabama, Coach Saban said, look here, you're going to get your national championship. You're going to play for SEC title.
That's all well and good.
Coach, I like the ring. But, Coach, I can't eat no rings. That school over there said they going to give me a Maybach.
This should have happened a long time ago. And I'm happy. But the NCAA is going to have to try to seize some control back because it's wild.
NCAA ain't got no more control. No. It's all institutional now. Skip, they done took control. The NCAA said, look, teams are moving. They don't even get an NCAA notice that they leaving conferences. They just like, we leaving. They send you a letter after they've already left. So the NCAA ain't got no more control. This is all institutional control. Right. And now it's going to the Heisman, Skip. And the thing is about these colleges, they ain't got no salary cap.
No cap.
It's not like the NFL.
It's like baseball.
Yeah.
You can just spin. Crazy spin.
Yeah.
Okay, good for the kids.
Yes.
Yours is a dangerous game.
It is.
And I've seen too many. I was watching bowl games. I see kids get hurt, and I'm like, oh, God.
Exactly.
And
the thing they talking about expanding the field, Skip, if you expand the field, you might as well do away with some of these bowl games. Because all you're going to do is get your top guys opting out of them.
Yep. So now I got to put my fan cap back on, my OU cap back on.
You sick.
I just don't want to see Caleb go back to Lincoln Riley at USC.
Why?
Just don't do that.
Why?
That would turn my stomach. That would make me puke.
Skip, Lincoln Riley came back to you guys and said, y'all got 11 million, USC got 10. Do you got 10 and a half, 11? Y'all said no.
Caleb, he burned you. He yanked you from the Baylor game. It was the game of the year. Yanked you.
Lincoln Riley, Lincoln Riley on his resume, he got #1 overall pick, second round pick. Yeah, I think I better go on back with old Link. Hook up with old Link. Link got that thing right. Get you right.
Yeah, and they fell into his lap, too.
Did he not get them right? Do you believe
Maybe they were right on their own.
Do you believe Baker Mayfield would have been the #1 overall pick?
Sure. I do.
Without Lincoln Riley.
Yep, I
Don't do that, Skip.
I'm doing
See, now you want to.
It's going to be very
You done got a man cut a man. Now you going to undermine it.
Thinking Lincoln.
In the next couple of months. No mercy. Two NFL teammates got heated again this past weekend. This time, Jalen Ramsey threw a jab towards Rams teammate Taylor Rapp on the field during the first quarter against the Ravens. Now, after the game, Sean McVay brushed it off, comparing it to two brothers fighting. Shannon, social media is still buzzing about this. Have you seen anything like it?
Yes, but Skip, I did play 14 years.
Yeah.
Just because I saw it doesn't mean that it's okay.
It didn't become public like this.
No. Skip, the cameras they didn't have. Skip, they got as many cameras. The way it's set up now, Skip, they have as many cameras at a regular game as probably what we had at a Super Bowl. And now you probably got 10 times the cameras at a Super Bowl when I played what they have now.
Yep.
So they catch everything.
Plus, everybody's got a camera in their hand.
Everybody got a camera in their hand. So you see everything, what's going on.
Everything. We saw two Washington. We saw Jonathan Allen just.
Yeah, and you but at the end of the day, Skip, and Ram wrong for this one. You know you don't put your hand on that. That's a grown man. Every man that's playing in the NFL is a grown man. He pays rent, he pays mortgage, he pays a car note, he's probably taking care of somebody in his family. So that's a man.
Yeah.
And you give a man his respect. So Ramsey, I don't care what he did. I don't care if that guy gave up 12 catches for 500 yards. Don't you put your hands in the man's face. Y'all, whatever transpired, you guys could have talked about it without putting your hand in a man's face. So I would disagree with Rams on this, and I like J. Ram. We know we texted, and we have great communication. But in this situation, he's wrong. Sean McVay is right. Yes, you're absolutely right. Brothers fight. Yep, because my brother would have did that to me. Yep, we gonna fight.
Yeah, but Shannon, I'm racking my brain. I've been covering your game for many a year.
Yeah.
I just can't remember this on the field, in the huddle, blatant for all the world to see, where he took a swing. I know it was open-handed, but he took a swing. And if I'm in Taylor Rapp's shoes, I got to tell you, I'm having a hard time with this. At that moment, I would have had a hard time. Yeah. I know Shannon Sharpe well enough that I don't think you would have taken it.
No.
I mean, you're just going to throw down right there.
Absolutely.
You're going to respond.
Skip, I've never really gotten a whole lot of confrontations. I got in one fight in college, defensive lineman, Skip. We were sitting in the cafeteria, and we joking. You know, Skip, you know how somebody come in and you joke. You don't get mad at the person that's telling the joke. You get mad at the person laughing. Well, you know me. I got a loud voice. I'm laughing the loudest. He come, what you laughing at? And threw mayonnaise on me. And before he did this, eyes closed. Pat yours, I say closed for the weekend. Bro, you're not finna disrespect me. And we sitting down, Skip, we was in the line. We stretching in college.
How much bigger was he than you?
I was probably, at that time, I was probably 190. He's probably like 255. He was a D lineman.
That was the end of it?
That was the end of it.
He didn't want some more after that?
He couldn't see.
Oh, okay. But I mean, the next day?
No. He like, he went and told the coach that what you want the coach to do, bro? You threw mayonnaise on me. Skip, we stretched.
By the way, I saw Beamer get a mayonnaise bath the other day. That was gross.
No. So, Skip, we stretching. And, we making jokes and everything, and I'm making a joke. Something happened with one of my teammates' girlfriend, and we making a joke, everybody laughing. So we stretching. I'm in the front of the line because I'm one of the captains. He walks up and stand beside me. I said, Ray, don't make me stand up. Go get your you-know-what back in line because you don't want this kind of problem. Man, you ain't got... I said, bro, everybody talking, everybody laughing. Don't put your hands on me.
Okay.
I'm going to respect you. We're going to laugh. We're going to joke. I'm not going to talk about your kids. I'm not going to talk about your girl.
I got it.
In college, that was different, Skip. I'm talking about in the NFL. You married? Okay, fine. That's you got to... And you grown men with Skip. We were kids then. But... Nah, man, you're going to respect me. You're not finna punch me in my face. I don't care who you are.
So many of these fights, as you well know, have taken place behind closed locker rooms.
Yeah. I've seen a bunch of fights in the locker room. Yeah, of course.
Out of sight.
Yeah, in practice.
Media, out of sight of the public. All of a sudden, it's spilling onto the sideline, and now it's spilled onto the field. Mm-hmm. So now I'm going to go a cut deeper with these Rams. They brought together a bunch of volatile personalities, and they're all gifted, but you got your J-Ram and you got your Odell, and now at the helm, you got your Matthew Stafford, gifted thrower, golden arm thrower. And it's a lot of pressure, and it's a lot of potential dissension that can swell and grow and explode. And I'm not sure I trust this team going forward. Aaron Donald, I trust because he's a big-time player with a strong football backbone.
And you saw Sunday why they got Von Miller.
Yeah,
you see that play that he made, Skip? There are very few people that can bend like that, go up under the block, be this low to the ground.
I got it. But he can be volatile also.
But the thing is, Skip, look, there's a lot of expectations. There's a lot of pressure on this team. Like you said, when I got Matthew Stafford, they brought in Odell. They brought in Von Miller. They signed Jalen Ramsey a couple of years ago, gave him that big extension. You have an Aaron Donald. Cooper Kupp is having a historic season. There's a lot of pressure on you guys to finish it out. So sometimes emotions run high, but your emotions not finna run high on me. Ain't no punk in Shannon Sharpe. Ain't nobody putting it. Skip, you remember that fight Rondo and Chris Paul had? They were standing there talking. It wasn't until Chris Paul put his finger in Rondo's temple and Rondo teed off.
I think there was some spitting involved.
Rondo said, I was just, saying it, and it just happened. You just can't, Skip, you just can't put your hand on a man's face.
You cannot. You cannot. Okay, so now the biggest picture is Matt Stafford has now thrown 5 picks in 2 games. He's thrown 6 in the last 3 games.
Right.
And he's now thrown for this year 4 pick sixes. Aaron Rodgers has thrown 3 for his career. Jared Goff threw 4 in, how many years was he there? 6 years?
Yeah.
Yes, 4 and 6, 5 years. I think it's 5 years. So he threw 4 and 5 years. And all of a sudden, Matt Stafford's throwing it to the other team, and they're taking it home.
Well, Skip, he's been a high turnover guy now.
He has.
He's not like all of a sudden he was Aaron Rodgers in Detroit, and all of a sudden this is like, man, I don't know where this came from.
Yep.
He's been a high turnover guy.
And as we talk about with Russ and the Lakers, turnovers like that are demoralizing.
Oh, yeah.
But in the NFL, when you get a turnover-prone quarterback, it's a fire starter for the whole team. It suddenly, we see once with Baker, too. Once it starts to go south, then the whole team starts to flare up.
Yep.
Because those sudden changes rock the defense. And you get thrown in.
And the thing is, it's hard. You throw pick sixes in the playoffs, you're going to lose.
Yep.
It's as simple as that. You give a team, I don't care if you're home or away, you turn the ball over 3 times, Skip, you're going home. And then people are going to be looking at you because they're like, bruh, as well as we played. I mean, teams are looking at Baker like, man, well as we played, I mean, Ben didn't really do much last night, bro, and you.
Yep. True.
Yeah, but the frustration, man, I don't know what's wrong with these cats that they feel they can put their hands on another man. Somebody need to stop it.
Yep.
No mercy.
Ben Roethlisberger helped lead the Steelers to a 26-14 win in what is expected to be his final game in Pittsburgh. Big Ben was the 2004 Offensive Rookie of the Year. He's won 2 Super Bowls and made the Pro Bowl 6 times in his 18-year career. Shannon, what's his legacy?
It's a very complicated one.
Yep.
I don't believe you can talk about Ben's career on the field without talking about some of the issues that he suffered off the field.
Agreed.
On the field, he's I think he's borderline top 10, Skip. He has the 2 Super Bowl victories that Alex mentioned. He's 5th in passing yards at almost 64,000. He's 8th in passing touchdowns, 3 behind Marino, 4 behind Phillip Rivers at 417. Marino had 420, Phillip Rivers had 421. 11 seasons with at least 10 wins, 164 career wins. That's 5th most all time. And he's one of 6 quarterbacks, Skip, that started 100 games to have a better record. Only Brady, Staubach, Montana, Manning, Rodgers, and Bradshaw.
Yep.
So on the field, his resume is as close to as impeccable as you can get it. Off the field is where it gets dicey.
Yep.
And I don't know how you have an honest and open conversation about Ben Roethlisberger, the football player, without discussing some of the transgressions. The motorcycle accident that probably took a year or 2 off his career.
Yep.
With no helmet, goes through the windshield. He didn't have a valid driver's motorcycle license. He had the 2009 allegation that resulted in a settlement. In 2010, no criminal charges were filed, but the NFL suspended him for 6 games. They were reduced to 4 games. On the field, I don't know if you can ask for anything more. He died for the cause. He gave it everything he possibly could. Now, he didn't train. He didn't prepare his body because I thought a lot of times he came in and he was not in the shape that he needed to be in.
I agree.
But I guess he felt that playing the quarterback position, he didn't need to be felt. But he has a very complicated legacy, and it's going to be one that's going to, when the voters come to the hall for voting for the Hall of Fame, and I do believe he'll make it, there are going to be some very, very tough conversations happening in that room.
For once, I cannot disagree with every point you just made, all the way down to your Hall of Fame point, because it's going to be a conflicting discussion that they're going to have. He, as a football player, he belongs in the Hall of Fame.
Oh, absolutely.
Because he's also third all-time in game-winning drives and fourth all-time in fourth-quarter comebacks. So he has been clutch. He threw a touchdown pass to Santonio Holmes that won a Super Bowl.
Yes.
It was clutch.
You don't get any more clutch than that, Skip.
And it was a great catch, too, but it was a clutch throw. And to your point, you win 2 out of 3 Super Bowls, pretty great. But he also led this league in interceptions twice, so that's Eli-like to me. And yet, the bottom line to Ben, to me, my friend at ESPN, Ryan Clark, who played with Ben a number of years, would always say, he's more than just a quarterback, he's a football player. Well, he is. He's a football player.
Yes.
And at about 6'5", what do you think he got up to, 250 or 60?
Easy.
Yeah, easy. I have never, ever seen a quarterback be able to shrug off pass rushers and stay upright and make a play the way this man could. But it was natural strength. It was God-given strength. It was not weight room strength, because I don't think he ever committed much to being in the shape that a Brady or whoever you want him to Breeze, whoever, who lasted longer.
Right.
He lasted as long as he could last.
Yes.
This is your
Well, considering what he would put his body through, Skip, the amount of hits that he took, because a lot of that, Skip, was getting back there, and he has 2 or 3 guys hanging off him, like lions hanging off a wildebeest, and he was still throwing the ball, completing it.
He did, again and again. And when I look at the numbers, they're pretty spectacular.
Yeah.
When you've thrown 417 touchdown passes with 210 interceptions, that's pretty great.
Yeah.
Your overall starting record of 164, 81, and 1 is pretty great. It's Hall of Fame. But in the end, I tried to put him in my top 10, and I can't.
Right.
The interceptions, maybe it's because in the back of my psyche, I'm thinking about the off-field incidents.
Right.
And do I ever think he was a great leader of the football team? I never. It was like he was just another football player in the locker room, but I didn't feel strong leadership traits from him. He just went out and played, and he played hard, and he played with pain, and he took one for the team, and to your point, he quote-unquote died for the cause in the end, and you honor all those things. And I think his teammates loved him for how hard he played.
I absolutely believe that they loved him, and knowing that how, when you take the kind of punishment that he took, Skip, he's the most sacked quarterback in NFL history. Hey, and last I checked, sacks are taxing on the body.
Yep.
So let's talk about, he's the most sacked, but how many times did he get hit that he didn't get sacked, that he had to pick himself up off the ground? So Skip, I mean, to be in Pittsburgh, that's a cornerstone franchise, 18 years, and to have the level of success that he's had, there's no question about it. And like you said, I got the borderline top 10 too. And I didn't even get to the old quarterbacks. You look at the Bradys, the Rodgers, the Peyton Mannings. I had Elway in front of him. I had Marino in front of him. When you look at some of the all-time greats, Skip, I just can't get there. But Pittsburgh's not disappointed that Ben Roethlisberger fell to them in the slot in which they were selecting. Yeah,
in the end, I agree. And it did my heart good to watch those fans last night. They came to love him.
Yes.
I know they had their issues with him along the trail, like everybody does.
Right.
But they loved him, and in the end, he loved them because he cried in his ESPN interview.
Absolutely, Skip. Because think about it, when you have great quarterback play, they had Terry Bradshaw for, I think, 14 years. And then you have Ben for 18 years. And then you look at that stretch in between. You know what it's like.
I saw Neil O'Donnell in a Super Bowl against my Dallas Cowboys, and he was throwing it to Larry Brown.
Everybody doesn't get a Brett Favre for 15 years and then get Aaron Rodgers for 17 years, or get a Joe Montana and then go to Steve Young. Skip.
I know, you're right.
That doesn't happen often.
Blessed.
You normally get 20 years of fertility.
No mercy. The Nets have dropped 3 in a row, but help is on the way. Kyrie Irving is set to make his season debut as a part-time player on the road for Brooklyn tomorrow against Indiana. Shannon, how much can be expected to help?
Well, Skip, I think he'll make a difference for the simple fact that, Skip, he'll lessen the load on Kevin Durant and James Harden. Skip, KD didn't play last night. He had already logged 32 minutes in 3 quarters. He's just playing too many. I mean, you see too many 43, 45, 40, 41, and it's wearing him down. And so I think Kyrie is going to, it's going to take him a while to get his legs back under, his competitive legs back under him. But it's going to be a huge difference and going to lighten the load on Kevin Durant.
I watch the Nets every night because, I love the Nets and KD. But it feels like they've gone from, how could you do this to us, Kyrie, to, Kyrie, please come save us, right?
Yeah.
Kevin last night, he may just be wearing down. He just looked distracted to me. He looked out of sorts. He did not look right.
Right.
And I'm starting to wonder, well, are you just waiting for your best buddy to reunite with you and give you some new energy?
Well, Skip, remember now, he was having to play log heavy minutes when James Harden wasn't there. He was asked to score, rebound, and assist.
Yep.
They got crushed on the glass last night, like 68-33.
No, but Ja was special.
Yeah. Bane was also. But I think Kevin Durant is playing a lot of minutes, Skip. They want to back these minutes down to have him fresh for the playoffs. Because Chicago and Milwaukee aren't going anywhere.
Well, that's it for us. Thank you for spending your morning with us. We'll be back tomorrow at 9:30 Eastern. But don't go anywhere because the herd starts right now.